When my grandpa died, I quit my job in news, which might seem like an extreme reaction, but I had been working this job since almost the moment I graduated from art school. I had worked from production assistant all the way up to graphic designer, and I was one of the main people that they relied on for some of their major events that news typically does, like the election season. That is a big deal, right? Despite being the person that they relied on for so many things, my boss was targeting me. She did that. She would pick people and they would be the person that she would just like hate and want to destroy. She was terrible. Anyway, she even had a producer who would watch me and my every move, literally would walk by my office to make sure that I was doing whatever every moment of the day. And that was just not the way to live. When he passed away, I was like, what am I doing? Why? Why why am I just sitting here being okay with this? This sucks. It sucks to be treated that way when you are working hard. Absolutely not. And I quit. And she had even said something to me like after the election season you might consider quitting. After I'm gonna walk out here right now. And I did. I didn't have children. Wasn't married. I had a ton of student debt, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go be an artiste now. Okay. At this moment in my life, from way before then, I had been writing every night. I was writing books. And one of the books that I was writing before my grandfather passed away was about banshees. Okay. You can see that I already had ideas about death and how unwell I was to handle any of it. So these banshees, they warn people of death. They keen, and that message that you are going to die, it sinks in psyche deep, and it reaches out to all of the people in your lives. And some people feel it and some people don't. Okay. Now, mind you, I am writing this book already. And there comes this moment when I realize I need to go see my grandpa before he passes away. Okay, I'm still in news, I'm still working. And so I do. We meet up in Biloxi because he loved to gamble. And it was halfway between Texas and Florida, kind of. And so I saw him, and it really was the last time that I saw him alive. A few months later, he passed away. And that is when I up and quit. And I started doing art walks, and I started doing galleries and stuff, and I lived an artist life, which was really very freeing, and it was what I needed at that time. I mostly survived off of commissions. So I did this beautiful piece for this woman whose son had just entered the military, and his father had been in the military. But I also did things that were just fun for me. Like I did this whole series of rabbits, right? So I did this piece, which I had given to my first literary agent, of a rabbit family, because she actually had a rabbit. Like that was her pet. And oh, it was so silly. And I just did stuff like that. And then because I lived in Corpus Christi, we have one of the biggest Dia de los Muertos festivals every year. And so I always did that festival. And it was big. That a lot of my money for the year would come from this festival. So I did a series of skeletons, of course. And I did things like Corpus Christi as the Wizard of Oz, the Emerald City, right here. And did this, like the little lineup. I think if you can see Dorothy, like, I don't know if I can zoom in here. She is a skeleton. I also did stuff like recreate movie scenes with skeletons. So I did this one with Dirty Dancing. I love that movie. All of this to say that I am about to start doing some art for that book, Paramour, which was like over a decade ago that I wrote it. And I finally have it in a state that's going to come out soon this September. This book is more haunted with death than you think, but not that people are dropping like flies in the book, but that it's haunted with the deaths of my past, right? It was inspired by my grandmother, who passed away when I was 13, and I didn't really feel like I knew her, but one of the things I did know about her was that she was very connected to her ancestry, very proud of being Irish. And so I went looking into that heritage. It's not something that I know or felt connected to the way she did. And so that's where banshees and death really came from. But the main character of this book is named Sadie. And why is that significant? Because she was named after my friend Mercedes. And I wrote it in a time in her life when she was not sick. Okay, I didn't write it because she was sick. I wrote it because I loved her, because I wanted this adventurous, grand life for her that she wasn't having. Okay, she had a lot of sadnesses in her life, a lot of terrible, like, that was not fucking fair. That kind of shit happened to her. And I just wanted something bigger and grander and more for her. And I wrote this thing, and then it just kind of silence. It never got sold anywhere. I didn't know what to do with it. Stages of my life were changing. So of course you write other books. You keep moving forward. You keep going for the dream. But this book is something that I've always loved, and I've always wanted it to come out. And then I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. Right. And so it is coming out. It's coming out. And I'm hoping that people are still here for this video and still here for this book and still ready to see it, because I want people to see it and read it and love it and go on this journey that I have gone on for so many years. I'm not saying that you're going to find comfort in death when you read this book, because I can't predict how any one person will feel as they read the words that I write. But if you're the kind of person who might blow up their life when someone passes away, as I did, then maybe you might find some connection with me when you read this book, or just connection in knowing you're not the only one. While this book is an expression of how I handled death and how I dealt with these multiple deaths, there is a lot of joy in the book. There's a lot of love and a lot of connecting with other people and realizing that you can't shut people out. And so I hope that it is something that people enjoy and they want to read and that they're happy to read. It's going to be a series. And so please come with me on this journey.